and with a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness, and joy and honor. And in every province, in every city withal, wheresoever the king's commandment and decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness at feasting and a good day. And many other people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. Now in the 12th month, that is, the month of Adar, on the 13th day of the month, the king's commandment and his decree drew near to put into execution in the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them. The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout the provinces, and the king arises to lay his hands on such as sought them hurt, and no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all people. And all the rulers of the province, and the lieutenants, and the deputies, and the officers, and the king helped the Jews, because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all the province. For this man, Mordecai, waxed great and greater. Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword, and slaughter and destruction, and did whatsoever they would unto those that hated them. And in Shushan the palace the Jews slew and destroyed 500 men. And Pashana and Daphron and Aspatha. I'm going to skip these words. Then 10 sons of Haman, the enemy of the Jews, slew they. So they slew Haman's 10 sons. On the spoils they laid not their hands. On that day the number of those that were slain in Shushan the palace was brought before the king. And the king said unto Esther the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan in the palace, and 10 sons of Haman. What have they done in the rest of the king's provinces? Now what is thy petition, and it shall be granted unto thee, or what is the request further, and it shall be done. Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according unto this day decree, and let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows. And the king commanded it so to be done. And the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together for the 14th day also of the month of Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan, but of the prey they laid not their hands. But the other Jews that were in the king's province gathered themselves together, and stood for their lives, and had the rest for their enemies, and slew their foes 70 and 75,000. But they laid not their hands upon the prey. And on the 13th day of the month of Adar, on the 14th day of the same rested they, and made it a day of feast and gladness. But the Jews that were in Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and the 14th day thereof, and on the 15th day of the same they rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore the Jews in the village that dwell in the unwalled towns dwell in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month of Adar a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day of the sending portions one to another. And Mordecai wrote these things, and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in the provinces,